2.0, the podcast. And always remember, gentlemen, it's a mother movie. So today we're going to be discussing how a lot of people, you know, a lot of people, it might be your friends, family, you know, they don't want you, they do not want you to become more successful than they are. You know, a lot of us are living in a fairy tale. Let me say that again. A lot of us are living in a fairy tale, thinking that the next person is gonna wish you greatness, that the next person is gonna wish you abundance, that the next person is gonna wish you that $500,000 house on the hill you got. You know the house with the lake, and you got them new cars in the yard. You know, especially for men. You know, and this goes for women as well. A lot of times, people are not going to want you to become more successful than they are. You know, um, a lot of times in the black community or any other community, but mostly in the black community and communities of poverty, where there's beautiful women who look good, you know, beautiful women who look good, and they're looking for guys who have something going on. And 9 times out of 10, your friends, the guys around you, will always try to downplay you into a smaller position than what they're in. Okay? They're going to try to downplay you into a smaller position than what they're in. And the reason why they do this is because most people know that 9 times out of 10 it might be a chick that this dude that had a crush on for a long time. And he knows that this chick likes scat packs. This chick likes dudes with money. This chick likes, you know, dudes really who is above her league. Because she's probably not making the amount of money that you're making. So 9 times out of 10, you go around telling people that, okay, you go around telling people, you be like, okay, I'm about to go, I got my credit up and I'm about to go get this car. 9 times out of 10, that guy's going to let you get that car and he's going to take it. He's going to try to take it from you. He's going to let you get that car. He's going to either try to take it from you or he's going to talk you out of not getting the vehicle to begin with. A lot of us get caught in the trap, get caught in the trap thinking that people want to see you successful. There's always somebody There's always somebody, you know, who wish you'll stop doing what you're doing. Stop going to your 9 to 5. If you got a food truck, they're gonna be like, please don't let this dude with this food truck come in, because they know that your food truck is doing way better than their food truck. You know, nobody wants to share success. Nobody cares enough to say, man, I hope you make it. They don't, especially if you're from the same community. They're gonna be like, no, man, please don't let this dude make it. Or they'll take it up a notch and they will do things to you that could be detrimental to your health. Could be detrimental not only to your success, but also to your health. There's a lot of guys who's not around anymore who had to hang up their coats because there was guys who were jealous of them. These guys, you know what I'm saying, was, you know, doing better than an average guy was doing. So for all the people, we're gonna go back to working 9 to 5s. You know, this is for my people who's struggling with it. You know, the 9 to 5 people who hate working 9 to 5s. You know, but the only reason why they hate working a 9 to 5 is because a lot of them lack situation awareness. A lot of people lack the ability to keep their mouths closed when they're on the job. You know, they see other people talking, you know, they see other people talking, who guys who've been working there, and they see the supervisor, you know, be talking and stuff like that, and saying things that people wouldn't normally say and stuff like that. And here comes you, the new employee. And you're thinking that you have to tell people your personal business on the job. I don't advise anybody to tell somebody their personal business on a job, because 9 times out of 10, a lot of times when you're working a 9 to 5, a lot of people who work at this company, they're all hating. You know, they're all hating. They don't want to do that much work. They want to get a promotion. They want to get more money. A lot of them got dreams and aspirations. So what they would do is they will play the guy who just gets the job, who lacks situational awareness. And what they would do is they would get together and they'll start talking to you and act like they're cool. They'll start talking to you, knowing you're not supposed to have any drugs in your system. They'll lie to you. This is why when you go to a job, you have to keep your job separate, you know, and the people that you're coming to work with is not your friend. You know, relation database said true efficient for information. Cool. A lot of people on your job is not your friends. You know, a lot of times, I remember, I'm a prime example. When I was younger, I lacked situational awareness. You know, I would go on a job. I think that just because this dude looks like me, he's cool. You know, I could be like, hey, bro, yeah, I smoke and stuff like that. No, I don't do that. Like, now, it's to the point where I'm in a state where marijuana is legal. But, you know, a lot of jobs, you still can't smoke. But I smoke every day. I go to work every day. And now I get to the point where I don't tell nobody anything. I'll smoke and I'll just be geeked. You know, I'll be geeked and nobody knows it. And, what I learned was back in the day, I used to go to a job and I would think that this chick, you know what I'm saying, like I could start a relationship with this chick on the job. And 9 times out of 10, I don't advise no dude to start a relationship with a chick on the job, because only thing that's gonna happen is you're gonna get jealous like I was. You're gonna get jealous. You're gonna get jealous because there's gonna be men supervisors who are over you, who make more money than you, who they'll come around if they figure out that you have a crush on this chick, and they're a snatcher. They'll snatch this chick. Facts. Dating chicks on the job is bad for business, period. And there's a lot of guys out here who never worked a job. Like there's a grown man out here who never worked a job where they didn't have to deal with women. A lot of guys be talking about they don't like their 9 to 5s and stuff like that. And a lot of times these women be they're looking for a come up just as much as you is. You might be thinking that, oh, this chick ain't, a lot of times these chicks be trying to grind. They be grinding and heartless with it as well. They can care less about who you is, what type of what type of car you drive and stuff like that. They're just trying to, pass time. A lot of women are flirty. These for all the guys who work with women. I stopped working with women. A lot of my jobs that I work with mostly men. But I used to work jobs like restaurants where you got to work with women and stuff. Like, and you be thinking that, they want you to become successful. No, not at all. 9 times out of 10, most modern women on the job, and even not on the job, they think that they're more successful than you are already. So we can't be going around, as a man, you can't be going around telling people your business, telling people the truth. It's sad to say, you cannot even tell people the truth. You can't go around telling people your weaknesses and stuff like that, because 9 times out of 10, they're gonna play exactly what you told them against you. Have you ever been in a situation where the most beautiful chick at school liked you, and she was rocking with you, and you start going around telling other dudes, man, I like this chick, man, and this and that, you know what I'm saying? And then guys will go behind you and tell fibs, they tell lies, and be like, oh, he was with this chick and that chick, and now the chick ends up liking your homeboy, But the moral of the story is that we as people, we be thinking that people want to see us successful. Like, people want to see you in a $3 million. We be thinking that people want to see us in a $3 million home with acres, with a long driveway. Most men know that the more resources they have and the more successful they are, and if they don't have the success, 9 times out of 10, the guy with the most success can conquer them. They can come through and swoop their girl. So 9 times out of 10, like, if most people are not going to believe that are not going to even believe that you, out of everybody, the guy in the neighborhood is going to have a $750,000 home with a lake behind it. You got 2-3 cars in the yard. You got a barbecue grill. You got a fucking jacuzzi, pool table. You got your own bar in there, man. No, most men, and the sad thing about it is there's a lot of guys in the black community who were green. I remember when I was green. And don't worry about being green, guys. A lot of us are green. On one point of time, you're going to be green. A lot of times when you first jump off the porch, like when I jumped off the porch and I was out there, I was homeless. I was green. You know, I didn't know the types of hustles guys was pulling on other people. I didn't know, you know what I'm saying, some of the things that people would do to me and stuff like that. You know, the things people would do for a pack of cigarettes. You know, I've been in situations like, okay, so I was in Atlanta. Shout out to Atlanta, because Atlanta is a beautiful city. You know, I loved Atlanta, but I had to get out of Atlanta because I'm homeless. You don't want to stay in Atlanta homeless. Atlanta was a cool place, but Atlanta is a difficult place to come up in. It's difficult. But if you can stay in the suburbs, in the outskirts of Atlanta, Atlanta's perfect. You know, but I was homeless in Atlanta when I jumped off the porch. I was green, but I was learning as I was going. And I used to order headphones. I used to sell liquor shots, cigarettes. I did never want to work a job. And I would have dudes and females. I would have dudes who would try to rob me for my cigarettes. So what makes you think that somebody is excited if there's somebody out there who would get me, a homeless person, for my cigarettes, and they will purposely be like, man, I'm trying to find this dude. I'm trying to get him. Then what makes you think that that job that you're working, that you make $700 a week, is not valuable? A lot of times people will talk you out of good things you have going on. A lot of, like I was talking about the 9 to 5 thing, a lot of times people go to these jobs and they talk too much. They don't know how to hold cold. They don't know how to hold water. They go on a job, people talking, they know you new, and you a black man. You know, people are expecting black man to be a certain type of way. And you come in there, you're showing that you're emotional. You know, you can't take orders from people. You can't let somebody be the boss. Like, say for instance, if you work at McDonald's and they got a lead, and you can care less about a lead, F a lead, you know, but that's your, keep that in your mind. But every time that dude come by me, I'm like, what's up, boss man? Yes, sir. Anytime he tell me something, I'm gonna do it. I'm not gonna get jealous because there's good looking chicks on the job. I'm not gonna get jealous because he has power. I'm here to do my job. You know, a lot of times we go on jobs and we end up letting people knock us out of position where if we didn't have this job, or, you know what I'm saying, we wouldn't have $500 a week. Most people are not making $500 a week. You know, a lot of us out here, we're struggling with it. We are struggling, including myself. I pay for my car. I pay I got a 5-year lease on this SUV y'all see me in. I done paid. It been 2 years down. I still got 3 more years. You know what I'm saying? Like just for the SUV, which I'll never lease a car again. You know what I'm saying? This car is going to my wife and for my kids and stuff. But I'm gonna go get me a truck. You know what I'm saying? Then next time I'm gonna pay cash. But when you have bills as humans, us as humans, we have bills. We have bills. And if you go off and get a mortgage loan at 35, and you turn, and 10 years later, your back go out. If your back go out 10 years later, 9 times out of 10, the bank is not going to care about your back going out. Only thing they care about is the money that you owe them and the time you have to pay that. So 9 times out of 10, the people you done paid 10 years on your mortgage, and now you got a health problem and you can't pay it no more. So this is why I tell people that the older you is, you 35, don't go out there and get a mortgage, man. People are expecting you to do things like that, to go off and get a mortgage at 35. You know, and 9 times out of 10, you're not going to pay that house off, and the bank has just got a monthly check coming in from you and thousands of other people. And 9 times out of 10, the bank is going to end up with their house right back in their hands. And then the value of their house is going to go up. You know. But I just wanted to rant for a little while. You know. Anybody got any questions or anything? You know. Any type of questions, then man, leave a comment. You know, even if I'm not on live, like leave a comment. If I can help, I'll reply. You know, if I can't, I ain't gonna say nothing. But a lot of times I had to Memphis, Tennessee. Memphis, Tennessee. I got a bunch of family in Memphis. And I've been gone from Memphis for so long. I used to be able to walk around, you know what I'm saying, do what I wanted to do, but now I don't do that. You know, I go back to Memphis and family looking at me like, you know, I'm some type of god. Like I left and they're still in the same. I left 10, 20 years ago. I left over 10 years ago. And when I left, I was junior. When I left Memphis, I was junior. I was the little dude. You know what I'm saying? I ain't had no car. I ain't had no job. I used to rob people and stuff like that. And then I changed myself. Then I go back. And people are still in the same situation that they've been in, because in the black community, people glorize you and keep you company when you're not doing anything. So I'm like, why the hell is everybody like, why is there not no basketball players who went to college in my family? Why there no like all the kids and stuff, why they ain't go to college? Because nobody wants you to be more successful than them. Then when I go back to Memphis, people want to drive my car, you know what I'm saying, stuff like that. You know, you got to be careful, bro. Be careful, stay focused, stay prayed up, man. And that's all I want to say for the video today, man. I'm going to holler at you guys on the next one. Over and out.